question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?
What about Nebraska? What about Nebraska? Does anyone not care about Nebraska? Why should they? Coming from somebody who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, us blue voters, we did our part, okay? Including Lincoln. And what's so funny is I keep seeing all these farmers showing up on my For You page now because I live in Nebraska and that's all I'm going to see. What did y'all think was going to happen? Y'all are the ones that voted for this orange guy. I do not feel sorry for y'all because there are going to be consequences for your actions. And the fact that you thought you wouldn't be affected by this, so I'm going to hold y'all hand when I tell y'all this. Get y'all friends, get off them phones, and get in the field, okay? Pun intended. Y'all's racism actually overpowered y'all livelihood, and now y'all are seeing what's happening in real time. I don't feel sorry for y'all. So many of y'all are so upset that y'all workers aren't showing up to work. Oh, that's really unfortunate, love. But to my Omaha Nebraskans and my Lincoln Nebraskans, I stand with y'all. We knew this would happen, and we tried our best. And to the rest of you, I don't wish you good luck. Good riddance. And I don't even talk about politics, but I'm gonna get this video to a minute because I just know someone's gonna be in my comments screaming and yelling till they red in the face.
Well, in today's episode of F Around and Find Out MAGA edition, cattle ranchers in the state of Nebraska who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump fear the impact on their businesses when Donald Trump implements his mass deportation program that he campaigned on for almost 2 years, that they voted for. And now they're realizing that if he actually implements it, they'll go bankrupt. He told you for almost 2 years that he was going to deport 20 million Hispanic, Latino, undocumented immigrants living and working in the United States. You voted for that. And as cattle ranchers in the state of Nebraska, your business and your profitability depends and relies on undocumented immigrant workers who are now going to be deported by the guy that you voted for who said he was going to do that.
So right now, the stock market is crashing. Nebraskans are losing their farms. And then it's going to be really funny when Donald Trump does his State of the Union address tonight, and people are clapping, applauding it. It's also going to be really funny when I walk into work tomorrow, and all the guys are talking about how great Trump is doing, and how he has this awesome plan, and how the State of the Union was the smartest thing they've ever heard in their life, and how it's going so perfectly. Meanwhile, the economy is projected to take a sharp shot down, and everything's falling apart. We're siding with Russia, but Trump will lie to them and get them all riled up and excited. So that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to continue to be sad.
Nebraska is not too happy right now with what's going on in politics. And they're overwhelmingly supported President Trump. But a lot of them now are saying they made a mistake, that a lot of their farms and ranches are looking to not be able to survive because they've lost a lot of their workers, which happen to be a lot of illegal immigrants. Some are getting on Facebook and other media sites and saying that within so many months, they're going to be bankrupt. There's one person that said 300-year-old family ranch is going to go under. 300 years old, that means 1725, there was a private ranch, family ranch out in Nebraska. I wonder what the Native Americans thought about that. Yeah, that doesn't make no sense. But a lot of them are saying, we didn't realize that it was going to do this to our state and our economy. Y'all are playing out there. You know exactly what you were doing. And then you bit yourself in the toe. And it's not good. But I'm wishing y'all the best of luck. I hope your state don't go bankrupt. Maybe all the money that President is taking from Illinois, not paying us, maybe he can give it to y'all since you voted for him. I don't know. Just a quick idea. Call up Doe's. Or why don't y'all get out there and do the work yourself? Get up there and get to those fields. Curious. All right. Or maybe pay $5 million and you can get some of them immigrants back on that farm.
So, y'all be seeing the people on TikTok recently. It's like, what about the people in Nebraska? Where are y'all? Like, do y'all not care about what's happening to us and our families and our 300-year-old farms? I mean, we see it or whatever, you know, but we seeing this too. We seeing this too. We seeing this too. Y'all remember when that white dude was getting arrested in, I think it was Atlanta airport, and he was like, "You're treating me like a black person." Y'all remember that? I think that is what is happening in these United States of America. I think that everybody is starting to find out that racism is expensive. You should vote your pay grade. And that everybody is niggas.
We don't care about poor people. We don't care about children. Cut it all off. What's happening is the federal government will start giving less to Nebraska. And Nebraska's going to be expected to pull herself up by her bootstraps. Not if they've raided their slush fund. If they don't have any money left in their slush fund, they can't help their hungry and poor citizens. So again, it's all self-inflicted wounds because this is how they voted, and they supported an administration that was going to slash. They supported an administration that said no more brown people. They did this to themselves, and it's very hard to feel sorry for them, right? There's a lot of people on here that are like, bye-bye. But it's a major hit to our food supply. I took some notes. Let me just tell you. They are the third largest producer of corn. They're a big producer of soybeans. They are top 15 producer of wheat. And I don't know if you knew this, but Nebraska, number one in popcorn. They're the number one producer of popcorn. We stand a risk to lose our popcorn, people. But that's not even what I want to talk about. They are one of the top producers of beef. If you've not, I mean, there are some exceptional cattle ranchers in Nebraska. And they provide a huge portion of America's high quality beef, but also pork, poultry, and wait for it, eggs. You think they're expensive now? You shut down the state of Nebraska. That's a big hit to the egg industry. Now, the what would be the cherry on the top of the fuck around and find out Sunday is that 43 days before the last election, Nebraska's state house made a Hail Mary to try to change their electoral college process. If you're not familiar, Nebraska has 5 electoral votes, but it's not a winner take all. 3 of the electoral college votes go to, however, those 3 congressional districts. So if 2 of those districts go blue, that's two electoral college to the Democrats and 1 to the Republicans. And then the other 2 are given to the person who the party that wins the overall state. So if the Republicans win the total state, they would get that. So last year, the way it stood to be was that Donald Trump would probably get 4 electoral votes. Kamala Harris would get 1. 4 out of 5 isn't quite enough when you're a Trump-loving, conservative, middle America white man who happens to be in the Nebraska State House. They didn't even want the black lady to get even 1 vote. Oh, no. They tried to change 43 days before the election. They tried to change their electoral college process to a winner take all. And luckily it didn't pass. There was somebody in the state house that said, this is dumb, we're not doing it. So it was dead in the water. But my point being is that this state is led and probably is populated by people who were die-hard, rabid Trump supporters. People who will throw a Hail Mary at the last fucking minute because they wanted him to have an even bigger win. And now they're crying on TikTok because they might go bankrupt. If you're a blue dot in Nebraska, hang in there, maybe pack your bags, maybe go to Colorado. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, and I'm so sad it's going to fuck our food supply for a very long time.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, Do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
This video is for Nebraska farmers. I want you guys to know that America and Israel are the only two countries in the entire globe that don't believe food is a basic human right. Secondly, y'all got played like an old school fucking fiddle singing The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Okay? Wow. Y'all are gonna make fun of my glasses. Y'all are gonna make fun of the fact that I'm in my garage, on my smoking chair in my garage, next to some crazy ass expensive equipment that, hey, Nebraska farmers, I got time to do all damn day. I can go out and do this whenever the fuck I want, Nebraska farmers. You can't even make it to a town hall meeting. You're about to be broke in 6 months. The state of Nebraska is about to be bankrupt. Y'all voted for this.
So this morning I ended up on Nebraska Talk, and it was a bunch of people crying, why does anybody care about Nebraska? When we voted for Kamala Harris, when I cast my vote for Harris, that was me saying, I care about you, and I want you to survive and thrive. Okay, you knew better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay? And instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for minimum wage.
Hey, y'all, listen, those of you asking me how much Nebraska is paying in terms of farm workers, Nebraska pays between $13 and $18 an hour starting out. So if you're coming here to work on the farms, and I get what you guys are saying, you want the MAGA people to be in the front of the line to show up and work these farms. But I want you to know this situation is serious because, you know, Nebraska is one of the top meat producers in the country. So if you want to keep eating them ribs and filet mignon and New York steak and so on and so forth, somebody got to work these farms. They're not going to work themselves is all I'm saying. Look here. MAGA people, y'all show up. People saying y'all need to be in the front line and show up and work these Nebraska farms before these states goes bankrupt. That's what I'm saying.
What's up, TikTok? It's me, it's Jeremy. It's March 7th, 2025. And so there's a viral trend going on right now, or a category, and it's called, Do You Care About Nebraska? Or, you know, something along those lines. And it has to do with the farmers that are going to potentially lose their farms and their family businesses due to policies changing. And certain government funding being retracted. And so there's this trend going, do you care? Do you care? And, you know, yes, we care. Of course, people care. We care about everyone. But where's the self-accountability coming from? Okay? Because I'm going to point some things out. You guys sold us out a long time ago. Farmers in the United States of America, you sold your fellow citizens out for greed, for money, for subsidies. You've allowed poison to be sprayed all over our food for subsidies, okay? You have given the jobs to the illegal aliens, as they're called, instead of paying your fellow citizens a fair living wage, so you could live on your private acres and have all your big toys and have your own private food that wasn't being sprayed with these chemicals. See, karma is coming home to roost for everyone on this planet. Okay, trust me on that. This is the great trials and tribulations that the good old book talks about, and we're all going to be judged for our lives. Okay, now all is already forgiven. I said that at 144, okay? But that doesn't mean that you're not going to face your karma, okay? You're going to have to go through the cause and effect of decisions that you made for your money and for your greed and for your family's big old better lifestyle. Farmers are the hardest working salt of the earth people we have. It's the first job that matters. It's the only job that matters, is tilling the lands and not having to go chase down wild animals and hunt to eat. Agriculture, seeds that reproduce, trees and fruits and things that reproduce us more abundance than we know what to do with. But you sold it all away. You gave it to the corporations, you gave it to the government, and you sold us out. And now you want to cry out for help because the illegals are leaving your farms because they don't want to get deported, and you're not going to get your subsidies from big government. Okay? Everyone in this world needs to start growing food now. You need to take back that responsibility. You need to be growing something. I don't care if it's in a bucket. I don't care if it's in a gallon milk jug. Plant a seed. Learn what it means to eat your own food that you have grown, that you have taken the time to nurture and feed. And it's not that complicated, guys. I mean, nature really does take care of us if we get out of its way and just kind of help it do its natural thing, okay? Instead of being disruptive and destructive. Can we just be? All right? I'm telling you, farmers, I know what you're going through. It's going to be a collapse. It's going to be a government takeover. The Bill Gates and China and all them buying up all the farmland. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But as far as you crying right now on social media about you losing your big old acres, your kingdoms within rural America, you did this to yourself by the decisions your families have made for the last couple generations. You sold us out. You poisoned our food, and now karma's coming home to roost. I'm sorry I have to call it as it is. Yes, the government's evil. Yes, they're doing this on purpose. Yes, they're coming for your lands. But maybe if you had karma on your side, maybe you would have spiritual protection right now. Because I'm sure the people that did it the right way, I'm sure the Amish, the homesteaders, stuff like that, they're going to be protected. The walls of Jericho will be put up around lands that did it the right way. But if you are one of these people I'm talking about, one of these farms that sold us out a long time ago to this corrupt government, and now you're crying that the corrupt government is coming for you, That's karma, baby. My name's Jeremy. It's March 7th, 2025. Big news coming up with the crypto summit today, the White House crypto summit. So go ahead and keep your eyes on that, guys. And we'll be making videos throughout the day. I love you guys. Please get ready to help one another. Food shortages are coming. Supply chains are going to be disrupted. Farms are being affected. So start growing some food, start stocking up, and be ready to help somebody because, like I said, we're all being judged.
I have an honest question for people who voted for Trump, but also own farmland in which a lot of immigrants worked. Genuinely, what did you think was going to happen when Trump said all the immigrants have to go? Like, what did you think? Did you think he was going to, like, force people to work for you guys? Like, make it mandatory for certain people to work for you guys? Because I'm confused. Like, if you voted for someone who knew that they were going to throw out your whole entire workforce, what did you think the backup was? Genuinely asking. Like, did you think that he would make it mandatory for some of them to, like, have to stay? Or did you think that he would just select another group of people? Like, I really want to know, like, if this is a serious question, because I don't understand how a group of people could just vote for, like, their livelihood to be gone over another race. Like, whole entire livelihood gone because they just don't want another race here. I don't get it.
So I'm seeing a lot of people being confused about how, Nebraskans and people in agricultural communities can be voting against their own interests. And I have a lot of experience with these people. I'm related to them. And obviously when I talk about them, I don't mean all farmers and I don't mean all the people in these states. But in my experience, the farmers have been living a fairy tale for many generations. They have been told by the government and by our own society, that they're extremely valuable, which they are, but that they are self-made men and that they exist in a vacuum and that we would be lost without them. And most weird, that they don't receive any kind of assistance, that they're self-made, which is a fairy tale. They receive a lot of assistance, but this is the story they've been telling themselves. This is a story that the government has been telling them. And this is the story that they've passed on to their children and their children's children, because they want to glamorize. They want to make what they're doing idyllic. They don't want their kids to leave the farm. They don't want their kids to go to the big city. They want them to stay and they want them to keep the farm. So their kids and their kids and their kids have all been raised with this idea that as farmers, they are heroic. They are, the backbone of America, even though at this point, the backbone of America, if it's farmers, then it's completely made out of like fabricated steel and been replaced by a neurosurgeon like 30 times. They don't see that. So they don't understand. When you live in a fairy tale your whole life, and when you've been raised in a fairy tale, and when your father was raised in a fairy tale, you don't use critical thinking skills. You don't analyze what you're doing. You just keep going with the fairy tale. And you don't choose a political candidate that forces you to think. You choose the political candidate that encourages you to stay in the fairy tale. So that's how they keep voting for the bad people. That's how they keep voting against their own interests, because they're in a fairy tale. They're so enmeshed in it that they don't want somebody waking them up. They want somebody who's going to keep them asleep. And unfortunately, they're going to have to wake up sometime.
Someone please go check on Nebraska. Do you guys know what's going on over there? And if you don't know what's going on, that's why you have me, so I can explain it to you. But básicamente, Nebraska is about to go bankrupt in 6 months. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to smile. It's just a little ironic because majority of Nebraska voted for you-know-who, el pendejo, right? Majority of Nebraska is like, does anybody care about us? Like, we're about to go bankrupt in 6 months. And the reason why they're about to go bankrupt is because the majority of the workforce in Nebraska is built off, who do you think? The back to Latinos, right? That are undocumented. And they're scared to go to work. And they're not giving any money to the farmers. So their agriculture is dead. They're like, who cares? Like, can somebody come and help us? No, mijo. I have no pity for you. Sorry.
I just saw a couple of creators bring up some very valid points. If the farmers in Nebraska lose their farms, the corporations are going to buy them up and screw us over even further. And we should be concerned about that. and it's not that we are trying to make this some sort of a joke, but you Nebraskans need to acknowledge what you did, and you need to acknowledge the hateful reasons that you actually voted for Trump. The hateful reasons that you voted for him that got you in this fucking mess that you're in now. We need to actually hear the acknowledgement, not the, don't you care about us? Because at present, we're digging deep and we're not finding the fucks to give. Acknowledge. Let this be a teachable moment and learn the lesson real fucking quick before you lose your farms. That's all.
So for all the farmers that live in Nebraska, you voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants. Now, apparently, Nebraska is 6 months away from bankruptcy. Still voted for the mass deportation of 70% of your workforce on your farms, and now are complaining that your farms and your livelihood will not survive it.
Dear Nebraska farmers, I have a question for you. So, you realize that you were employing your farms with undocumented workers, because there's no way that you didn't know that, right? You realize you're also breaking the law by doing so. But you then rail against those same undocumented workers that's doing the work and making you money so that they can be deported. And now you're crying and whining and trying to skin and grin to Donald Trump to stop him from deportations when you supported it overwhelmingly. It's kind of like the Venezuelans, right? When right before the election, they were like, I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh, 2 weeks later, he used us.
Nebraska's biggest part of their economy at GDP is farming.
Right.
And they said 45 to 65% of the workforce is undocumented.
45 to 65%?
Yes. So,
oh, shit.
With Trump rounding up illegals, what have those illegal immigrants done? They jump ship. They don't want to get raided while they're working. They don't want they don't want to get families broken up. So now, so they predicted that Nebraska is 2/4 away from being bankrupt. The whole state, because there's no workers. Half of their workforce is undocumented immigrants. So now Nebraska is in a panic, is in an uproar. And most of them, farmers are Trump supporters. They got exactly what they voted for. If all these illegals were taking your jobs, why don't you go fill and do the shitty jobs they were doing for less than minimum wage? If these illegal immigrants were taking your jobs, there's all these jobs available. You can do it. To work slave hours at slave wages, you can do it. They literally bit their nose and spite their face. Like they directly voted to deport the illegals, and now the illegals, they didn't even wait for deportation. They working somewhere else. I hope they don't want any government handouts, because that's socialism. They hate socialism. Hope they don't want any government handouts. Put yourselves up by your bootstraps. What's going to end up happening is these corporations are going to come buy your farm, and you going to work that farm. And you're going to be working for the corporations. They're going to buy it for pennies on a dollar, and you're going to be working your farm, and you're not going to own it no more.